So hello and welcome to a new edition of the Gerety Talks. My name is Njagi and I am the co-founder of the Gerety Awards, the creative award that is redefining creative benchmarks by showing the value of the female vision in advertising. Today we have three guests from Africa to talk about, among other things, African creativity. Rozanne van der Merwe, Managing Director at Ogilvy, Namibia. Njagi, Creative Lead at Sendi, and Boateng, Business Director and ECD at The Storytellers. Thanks for joining us today and welcome to this Gerety Talk.
Thank you.
So,
thanks for having us.
Can you please introduce yourselves and tell us about your role and agency? Who would like to start? Rozanne, maybe?
Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's lovely to be here to chat with all the ladies and representing Africa. So I'm Rozanne van der Merwe. I've been with Ogilvy Namibia for 12 years. I started off and I studied marketing. Always said I'm never going to go into advertising, and here I am 12 years later, also fortunate enough to be a shareholder of Ogilvy Namibia, and really just love working with brands and love working with our clients and building brands. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, would you like to go on?
Yes, so I'm Boateng, and I've been working in advertising for almost 20 years. I like to say maybe I'm a sister to Rozanne, because I started off working at Ogilvy as well. But now I started off working at Ogilvy and then transitioned to Scanad, which is part of WPP group. But currently, I co-founded a little boutique agency called The Storytellers. So we're a new age advertising agency. We focus on building brands and delivering business results through compelling storytelling. That's why we call The Storytellers. And I do wear both hats as ECD and business director.
Cool. Angie?
Great. As you've heard, my name is Angie Njagi, and I currently work as a creative lead. So I transitioned from being for Sendi only, and I'm now a consultant for a couple of other brands. So my position in agency is not quite in the traditional framework of agency. So what I do is I work with creative teams internally for brands. And I help like lead them to tell the stories that the brands want to be told, and kind of ensure that they get the kind of impact that they really need in their spaces and with their audiences. So yes, so I am currently a creative lead for a couple of other brands other than Sendi, but Sendi was surely one of them.
Good. And so Angie's bio reads, a fierce advocate of showcasing the brilliance and beauty of our continent. So we know Africa is a big and varied continent. What would you say is that brilliance and beauty? And do you think it shows in African campaigns? Is there something recognizable or unique about them?
Yeah, so I was very particular about putting that there because so I know that using Africa as a word is usually irks some people because it just feels like a very blanket term and kind of like is like, okay, so there's so much color and diversity and things. So I mean, if you just look at the continent in itself, we're probably one of the smallest regional and ad market worldwide, but yet we've moved from being these passive receivers of information or charity or aid, and not to sound like Miss Obvious here, but we became these very we're pushing very unique and interesting narratives where we are at right now. And we move from being a homogeneous mass where one story is being told to us into very a multicultural and diverse environment. And that also shows in our marketing, because if you look at even the kind of people who are receiving our campaigns and receiving our marketing. We are no longer just a passive audience. Now we are finding that the people who are receiving our marketing, receiving our messages, are very opinionated, have a complex view of what we are giving to them. And that is one, the fact that we're the smallest, but then have all this diversity and all these opinions and all these things that we're bringing to the table is one of the brilliance that I count in the African continent. And for sure, I think it's showing in our campaigns. We find that we're becoming so comfortable and confident as a people in showing our unique self-expression. And you find it in our campaigns in terms of we are pushing people to show their uniqueness, show what makes them them, right? Like, even I think I saw a campaign by a while back. It was a share a Coke, and they dug into the insights of the fact that the fact of the names, like even the time the time you're born, right, is kind of like shows the personality of who you are and how you behave as an individual, right? So we're now digging into insights that make us unique and show our cultures and show what makes us so beautiful as a continent. And like even in Kenya, we have like, this is Kenya, this is Africa. I mean, this is my Kenya with Safaricom, yeah. And it was just showing the brilliance of and the beauty of our country, and it's such a beautiful journey we are getting into, because even us as marketers and as advertisers, we're giving that platform for individuals and to show their uniqueness, to show what makes them them, and we are leaning back into our cultures to ensure that we're telling a new story for Africa, and a story that is very colorful and really pays homage of where we are coming from and where we are heading. So that's basically what I feel about our continent and where we are. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, sounds exciting. An exciting moment to be living.
It is.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think Angie said everything, but just to add to what she's saying, I think we need to get a bit more comfortable in telling our stories. We have so many stories to tell. And I think what it is especially with global brands that come to Africa, sometimes, well, I think now the narrative is changing. What we usually do is just adapt, and that's it. Like, so it all just moves together. But how are we also able to tell our story through those brands? And like she gave that example with the Share a Coke campaign that we did. I mean, it was very obvious that we're just going to put names on bottles, but no, there's more to us as Ghanaians or Africans with our names. My name, for example, is a girl born on Thursday, and you usually have characteristics to your names as well, you know. And how are you able to tell those stories? We have so many stories. I think we've been misread, you know, and you say Africa is quite huge and you are just given exactly. But when you go deep into it, we are a group of colorful people with so many stories to tell. And I think what's happening now is the world is opening up for us to actually tell our story. So I think we need to embrace it more and tell it more, so people really know we are a diverse group of people, you know. So I think it's about time we tell our stories properly. We do it the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. You know, and that was definitely the fact that we are so diverse. And you mentioned, I think we all have roots, and we were all brought up in Africa. And I think one thing that we can say as a continent is we have extreme pride. And I know every continent most probably feels this way, but for one or other reasons, you know, whether you're Namibian or Kenyan, or we've got extreme pride about our country. And you know, even mentioning the tourism and the travel and that all just, you know, we almost become a bit emotional about it. It's very surreal, you know. And I think I agree completely. Telling those stories and being different. And again, just Namibia, for example, we've got 13 languages spoken in the country. That's tiny. It's tiny. We've got 2.5 million people. We've got 13 languages. So I think the complexity of it makes it so interesting and so fun to work in an environment, and really in a country in Africa where you need to know more. It's not that easy. And that's what makes it so intriguing, is because you need, like both of the ladies mentioned, you need to really delve deep to understand your audience 100%, to really get that message across. But yeah, I think telling the stories and just being open-minded, that's what I would love to see. But yeah, it's the complexity about Africa and our countries that makes it so interesting, and so and that's why I think we love working in this industry, because of that.
So yeah, that is maybe linked to a question, or you started answering, what are the biggest challenges you're facing today in the industry?
I think for me, I'll go first, is still, I wish we could have, having unauthorized, the protocols and a lot of stuff that goes with what we need to, for us to really get a campaign across and really get it through. There's a lot of protocols still in place. And I do think also unauthorized people in very high positions is one thing for me that I would love to change, or get to a point where we could really just move forward, because that really has a big effect on our timelines and developing campaigns and getting it into the market at the right time. I think that's one of the biggest frustrations, I would say, for us specifically.
I'll go next. I think for us, well, now digital has been accepted beautifully as part of our ways of communicating. And I think what we're struggling with is, obviously, we are all going through this economic crisis. And I don't know if you've heard, especially for us in Ghana, I'll speak for Ghana, our currency has devalued significantly. And anytime we're working on campaigns, digital campaigns, and we have to place ads, they're pegged to the dollar. So we lose so much, when it comes to, obviously, expectations as to where your campaign wants to reach and all of that. It's because that's what is actually affecting us. Well, for me, the challenges we are going through, everything is pegged to the dollar. I think everyone is going through this economic crisis, but for us in Ghana, our currency has just gone really, really, really low. So it's really affecting us when we come up with campaigns.
Okay, I'll go next. So I think mine is around, so it's weird because I've just talked about this as being one of our strongest pillars, but then here I am again talking about it might be sort of like a curse for us. So it's a thing about culture and about our upbringing and about what really is the pillars that make our countries and our continent the way it is. So so I'm going to reference one of the campaigns that we did, and it was about sexuality and HIV test kits. And if you think about it, the youth are even on the internet are like hypersexual. It's this place of knowing yourself, like knowing just posing and taking a picture with like backless and everything and dancing, it's whatever, like what our parents and our parents used to go through is not what the youth are going through right now.
No.
However, when our campaign went live, we were paused, right? The government was like, oh no, what are you guys doing? Are you showing people twerking? Stop it. We cannot, we do not want to see it. We do not want to see it. Stop whatever you're doing. That's the devil. So and that's the weird part, because this is what is actually happening on the digital spaces. This is how they're talking, this is how they're engaging. But then on this other end, it's simply what Rozanne was talking about. Like, you're just like, oh no, what are you doing in front of our eyes? Like, this is too much. This is too much. And so culture could be also a great foundation on where our campaigns lie. And at the same time, it could also be quite restricting when you need to show that this is where we are heading, this is where we had advanced to. Yet we are not allowed to tell all those stories because it's sort of like there's a ceiling that we hit that you can't go beyond that. And I think that's one of my biggest challenges.
And what projects that you can tell us about are you working on currently? I know sometimes you can't talk about things that are happening, but is there something you can tell us?
Yeah, sure. This is actually it ties very closely to what Ya has just talked about the plummeting state of the economy. So currently we're transitioning from an old government to a new one, and our elections were just the other day. But then what is happening is that there's even, so KOT, Kenyans on Twitter is a really big thing here. These people have a voice that can either chomp you to the ground or can like praise you to the high heavens. And so what is currently happening is that there's this hashtag called Nja Revolution, and Nja means hungry or hunger, yeah? And it's because people, if you have 1,000 shillings right now, what used to get you, like it could buy you shopping for like 2 days or something, or 3 days. But right now, 1,000 shillings are things that you can literally put in, like you don't even need a shopping bag. You can just carry them and just head to the house, because that's how low the currency is getting. So right now we are working on a project that allows people to buy in groups, in group buying. So if I live in a certain place, we can all buy together and therefore reduce the cost of whatever product we are buying, and therefore kind of like sustain or kind of like take down the price of what it would cost you as an individual to buy the said product. So I think because of where I am, it's helping me work with companies that are really driving a lot of impact and telling these stories and helping position them in a way that can actually get to the audiences that need to know what this is on. And the good thing about this project that I think, okay, maybe I'm super excited, but just to talk about it. So the good thing about it is that it allows you to buy it on WhatsApp, on USSD. It's not an app. Yeah, it's not an app. So grassroots people are actually getting to get these products, to get these products in the, it's not about oh, we're giving you this great prices. No, we're delivering it the next day for free because we're going to bring it all to where everybody has ordered and distribute them through our agents. And it's such, I feel like it's so good and so timely, especially when people are going through such a hard crisis right now. And honestly, I really love it. I really love it. For me, I'm just like a part of it, but even just the idea of it is really great. So that's what I'm working on, and that's what's keeping me up at night, because agencies and working in the night, it's synonymous, but yeah, so yes.
Nice, that's nice. I'll go next. So it's not something that I'm currently working on because I can't really speak about it, but something that I just finished working on. And my team and I worked on an amazing campaign for textile giants Vlisco. So I don't know if you know of Vlisco. So Vlisco, they create beautiful, top of the range, colorful African fabrics. And a couple of months ago, we are actually tasked to unveil their new brand ambassador. Now, obviously, coming out of COVID, they haven't done anything in a very, very long time. So we just thought, okay, how are we going to unveil a brand ambassador that speaks for such a big brand as Vlisco when it comes to African fabric? So we came up with this idea to, ooh, what if we came up with an African coronation of how the coronation of an African queen, again, back to how we telling our stories in this modern time. So it was actually very, very interesting. So it's the same way we tell, the same way we go through the coronation of a queen mother, that's what we call them, but we just told it in modern times. So what we did was we broke it into different categories. We first of all came up with a whole documentary, speaking to this brand ambassador, her story, her expectations, and we did a documentary style. And you know how it is these days, maybe somebody can't watch the full documentary, so we broke it up into little bits and pieces of a series. Then we worked on the coronation video, which was actually quite exciting, I beg your pardon. So we shot the queen in her modern day palace with her subjects. It was really, really cool. I really liked it. And then we came up with, this whole photography with her and all this beautiful fabric and different, like African royalty, and it was really beautiful. But I think for me, the most exciting part of this whole campaign, sorry, I'm just smiling because I was so excited about it, was the experiential part of it, when we're actually outdooring her. So we transformed this garden into a modern day palace. Oh, wow. And it was just so beautiful. I know we came up with the vision board and everything, but actually seeing it to life, we had African drumming and dancing, and like stools. It was just so beautiful, and the way she came out, it was just envision. I could share it with you, but it was like we had like rose bearers, everything. It was just so beautiful, and to see the guests coming, for the coronation, because they didn't know what to expect, and they all came in like their African colors and fabric. It was just a beautiful campaign. So as you can tell, I'm excited still talking about it, but I was actually very proud of it because it gave us an opportunity to tell an old story in modern day times, and if we still did that. So it's something I'm actually really proud of.
And also quite relevant with, I started watching The Crown.
Yes.
And, and then again, I think going back to the relevance of, when you talk about storytelling and how relevant, if it's relevant within your frame of work and stuff that's happening around you, that's what really makes it even more powerful.
Exactly.
You can relate. I think for us, mine is, we have amazing clients. We've got clients that's been with Ogilvy Namibia for 26 years. And we've recently, not even long time ago, we got a chicken brand on board. It's the chicken brand is Real Good Chicken in Namibia. And it was really for us, and I have to say, we love working with retail clients. That's definitely one of our strongest, the type of industries that we love working with. And we've taken this brand that's been existing, but we've now again just made it relevant for our audience. So we've also introduced beautiful, bright Namibian patterns and colors, and we've incorporated that into the CI. And I think social media and digital has been really slow on this side. I can really say we've tried to convince clients about 10 years ago already to go onto Facebook. And I promise you, and just seeing this brand. So we've recently, something like a social influencer is not a very common thing in Namibia. It's not very typical for social influencers and to have a brand custodian, and Namibians, or I think in general, are a bit hesitant in trusting. Trust is also a big thing for our audience. Just to have someone there talking about it, it really needs to be relate. They need to relate to it, and they need to trust this person. So that's why, again, it's so important that culturally, that brand and your influencer, whatever you put out there, there's a fit. Otherwise, it's like just tasting out the waters. So yeah, we've introduced a lot of social influencers, very well-known names in Namibia with this. We then launched a competition. So a kapana is a very traditional food. The way we cook meat, the word kapana is a meat. It's the way we braai it, we barbecue it, and we slice the meat, and that's how it gets served. It gets served with salsa and with vetkoek, like a doughy that gets put into oil. So then we introduced the first ever chicken kapana championships, and just again tying in the culture, but also taking it to the next level, and by just changing the protein. It's so simple, but people are really going on about this chicken kapana. So we're in the we're currently in the north. The teams and the clients are in the north currently, and it's a national competition and drive where we empower small businesses to start up their own business, and to have an income. So it's taking something as simple that's existing and just giving it a bit of life, and again making it relevant, and seeing how we can and our client, how they can empower other smaller businesses. And so that's very exciting. I think that's one of the projects, one of our big projects that we've done this year.
And does the word kapana mean something?
I think kapana, and I think in Oshivambo it maybe just means sliced meat. I'll have to Google it.
Okay.
But I've actually gone onto Wikipedia, and it's so funny. It says kapana is a way of preparing raw meat, typically beef, in Namibia by grilling it on open fire. And the grilled meat is often sold at stores. So it's very much the word is Namibian.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you find most rewarding in your jobs?
For me, I'll go first. For me, it's just getting results, achieving those business results. There's nothing so satisfying to know that your campaign is doing very well. Look at the way Angela was just smiling, like Angie was just smiling, going on about this new thing she's working at. Is when you achieve those business results, there's nothing more satisfying. Sometimes you come up with a campaign, and then the client goes, is it going to give me results? We as creatives, we can get, carried away with our creative ideas. And sometimes I must admit, it's just like, really, are we really going to do this? Blah, 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 but so far as you get those results and you realize that your client has actually achieved whatever they want to achieve, there's nothing more rewarding than that for me.
I agree 100%. I actually think I've written it down here. Just the results. That is it for us, and even for Ogilvy. We refer to the twin peak philosophy, where you have your creativity, but you also have effectiveness. And if you don't have both, then for me, it almost defeats the purpose of putting work out there and driving messaging and campaigns and delivering all these beautiful things. But if it does not work, then we wouldn't be in business, I think.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with all of you. It's about results. It's about the results, and I think just the cherry on top about people taking a campaign that you are probably really thinking over and over about, and people taking it and making it their own, and having their own view and their own perspective through that campaign. I feel that's just it's one thing for you to be able to communicate something, but for someone to take that message and make it their own, and then come through on that platform and talk about something unique, about maybe something they felt or something they're experiencing through that platform that we're creating as marketers and as advertisers and as storytellers. I think that's super rewarding, and it makes you feel like actually the insight that you are working with is true, and it's a really a great reward. And yeah, for sure, I concur with Rozanne and Yaf on this one for sure.
And talking about leadership and teams you work with, how do you encourage the people that you work with to give out their creative best? Do you have any tips?
Well, the world is changing so fast right before our very eyes. So what I tend to do is to share ideas. You come across something, share the idea. You find something that inspires you, you share it. It could be a simple post. It could be something that you've even found on LinkedIn. Or, sometimes you get these notifications that there's a webinar going on, about digital evolving, or how to reach your target audience in a certain way. You just have to share. And it's all about sharing ideas. That's the only way you can actually grow and evolve and move, especially in our line of business. You need to keep up, or else you end up being a dinosaur. So it's just about it's just about sharing ideas.
Well, I think for us, I'll go very recently, actually. It feels recent, but it was about 4 years ago. Annie Maton, our founder of Ogilvy, Namibia, she was very gutsy, and we decided to change our business model from a traditional setup to a decentralized one. So we were completely different, and we've been working like this for the last 5 years. So we do not have one creative on site. All of our creatives work remotely. We've got copywriters sitting in Sweden, but who's from Cape Town. I have a Namibian animator who works in Vietnam. So we've got a list of about 60 creatives on our system. And Ogilvy Africa's Joe Burke said, it's your business. If you feel like it's going to work, then do it. And this was pre-COVID. So I think it was quite innovating, and it was tough, and it has its challenges, but I can tell you, it's really changed the way we've been doing business. It's fantastic, because we've started putting teams together that are specialized in specific fields, if I can call it that. If we have a project that needs more conceptualization and research and development, and so we kind of split it up. So we really started focusing on the strengths of those creatives. And I have to say, again, empowering smaller little businesses, I think, is really kind of, they've been earning very good money. And I think that's one of the things, the fact that they've got their own time. They can reject a job or a project. They can work with specific business leaders. So we refer to our account executives. We've got business leaders. So we've kind of set it up as smaller businesses within the overall business. So we have our own teams, and we work across board. And I think the fact that we've given these teams the freedom and the choice to work on specifics, and I think that's really changed our business tremendously. And we've got, like I said, we no longer have a set of 12 creatives in studio. We have 60 people that we work with. So we no longer have that funnel effect where there's an influx of jobs, but we don't have the capacity necessarily to manage all of this. So now our creatives can choose the projects. They also have a say. We don't get frustrated with each other. We work extra time. We put in extra time, because at the end of the day, both gets rewarded, and the clients are really, we are seeing the rewards in that sense. So yeah, that's been working for us.
All right, so for me, for sure, it would it's the element of perfection. There's this need for creatives to always feel like I have to give a very polished idea, or a very polished insight, or a very polished thought, and it kind of kills the process of creativity. Or what I usually talk about is that perfection is really an illusion. Like, if you think that an idea is perfect, then that in itself kind of sucks, because then you're not giving room for growth. You're not giving room for the idea to breathe. It's kind of very stagnant and very stiff, right? And that's not even how life is. Life is not like like a box, like a square box. It's never like that. So I feel like it's kind of both embracing something that you feel like. If you feel like there's something there probably is, and then kind of like build it as time goes. You can build it with a team, you can build it by yourself, you can play around with it, but the thing about creating is about putting something on the table and seeing how can I make it better. Is there like gaps and everything? So just working with what you have at that point, as long as there's a conviction in it, as long as there's a strong insight in it, it's good enough to just table it and see where it would go. So perfection for me is the thing that I try to be like, there's no perfection. Just as long as you have a thought, it's like what Ya was saying, as long as you have a thought, table it. Let's see where it goes. Let's see what does the next step look like. If there's something there, maybe it's just a change of words, or maybe a change of perspective, and it makes it even get that much better. And yeah, I think there's no limit. It's just like we can always get better. We can always get better. And that process of changing, and that process of being able to kind of like adapt every time something new comes around, as long as it's good, is a big thing for me. And it helps also calm down nerves, because then sometimes nerves get into the way, and then everything just like goes out of the window. Everyone is like haywire, coffee mugs being thrown across the room. So then it's just like just the element of just bringing something that feels true to you, and forget about perfection, is something really strong for me.
Good. Yeah, I like the idea of sharing ideas. I'm on social media a lot, and every time I see something, there's always somebody that I know is going to be interested in that, and it's like right away sending the stuff. Exactly. So yeah, thank you so much for all your thoughts and ideas, and for sharing everything you do and you think with us. Thank you so much. It was very interesting to learn about your careers and work. And good luck with all your future projects.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us. It was really exciting session.
It was
lovely. Thank you so much.